'Cause I'm yours to keep if you want to.
Yours to keep. Yeah, that's
Episode number.
This is episode number 14.
Cool.
Yeah. Super
Valentine's
early
Day.
stages. Yeah. Good number.
Yeah, the heartbreak episode.
Yeah. I got the shirt for it.
Oh yeah, it's Suicide King.
Sweet. Well, we'll just jump right into it, man.
Okay.
What's your full name?
My full name, government name,
Yep.
Jacob. I'm not going to say my middle name,
Okay. How come?
just so people they can't search me.
Okay.
They can't do a credit check.
Okay.
Jacob Troth.
Okay.
My credit is A1.
Okay. No need to search. Are you named after anybody?
I have a biblical name, but not very biblical parents.
Okay.
And there's no one in my family with my name. And then I would search on the internet over the last decade when I would acquire websites or user profile names, and there's no one in the world with my name.
No way.
I think if
They're not
someone does,
online.
they're less than 10 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or they're just not online.
Yeah, they're
people
not
at all.
online yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I got a bunch
think,
of Nick Brettons.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
that.
it's a common one.
Your name looks like it would be a popular name. You have a very good-looking name. Yeah.
Hey, I think you got a good looking name.
Oh, thanks.
I mean, you got the superstar name.
Yeah.
Where were you born?
Big Jake. I was born in Charlotte,
Okay.
North Carolina.
And what was life like when you were living there, when you were born there?
Being born was crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Nuts.
definitely unparalleled experience. I gotta say, from what I remember, very
Nothing like
traumatic.
it. Yeah.
Nothing like it.
Yeah.
I imagine doing ayahuasca is a lot like being born,
Huh.
or maybe accepting Christ as your savior.
With
They
some
say-
extreme pain.
Yeah, they say that's like being born again. I don't remember Charlotte as a kid.
Okay.
I just have a couple photos because my parents moved to Florida when I was a little kid.
Okay.
And I have a brother that's 5 years older than I am, and we just bounced around Florida for a little bit, like I want to say South Florida, for a while, and then moved back to North Carolina when I was in first or second grade.
Okay. And family unit is you, your brother, and your parents?
Yeah, very atomic.
Okay. Cool. You remember much about Florida?
I remember like monsoons,
Okay.
flooding. I remember meeting my first Jewish friend. I remember having my first crush, seeing my first nipple
Oh, wow.
on another person.
Okay.
I
a lot
remember
for
lots
less
of
than 5.
fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, all the same person, a Jewish naked woman. Yeah, no, who's swimming in the street. And I remember fishing a lot. I remember seeing my first guitar, lots of sports, and I remember seeing my first Victoria's Secret magazine, playing basketball. It was kind of like a lot of my first things happened in Florida, and my parents wanted to leave Florida because they didn't want me to experience like my first like fight or drug addiction or whatever was like running rampant in
Yeah.
like Tampa at the time.
Yeah. They didn't want you around it.
Yeah, they didn't want us around it. So
Yeah.
we moved to a very quiet, safe town in North Carolina called Davidson, which is like a liberal arts town.
Cool.
And it's like quintessential America, much like these commercials you see on TV where they're like selling a car or home insurance or something, and it's just like so standard American, Pleasantville.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I lived there for a long time.
Huh. And what was life like when you were growing up there?
Life in Davidson is slow, safe, very local. It's not like bougie, but it's definitely middle class, upper middle class. Lots of really smart kids with really smart parents, and a lot of great sports and academic culture, not a lot of music or art culture, though there is a pretty good art program at the school.
Okay.
So I had friends whose parents were like art professors, or they went to camps or took classes at the college when they were little kids, and a lot of kids were making art, but like there was no one to look up to that was from Charlotte or Davidson. So we were always looking at New York or Atlanta as like the big metropolitan cities, because Charlotte's mostly banking, so it's a lot of like stiff people.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what kind of work did your parents do?
My mom worked for Allstate Insurance for a long time, like 35 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my dad was a salesman who would drive a lot in his job. He would drive city to city selling what I thought were guns for a long time, because he called them guns. Turns out he was selling glue guns.
Okay.
And they were like industrial glue applicators for large companies like Nestle and like diaper companies, where they had either like the wrapper that wraps around the Nestle Crunch bar, it sticks to itself. The glue that sticks the wrapper to itself.
That's the gun.
Yeah, it's applied by a gun that my dad sold.
Huh.
I think I've never
followed up.
I've never followed up with him, but for a long time I thought he sold guns.
Yeah.
He has a very loud voice. He talks on the phone incessantly, and it just seemed like he was the right fit for the guy that would be the gun broker. Especially living in the South, you like hear about guns and see guns all the time. Not because I like went to public school, but just because there's like a bunch of army brats down there, and people love their guns in the South. So I just thought my dad sold guns, but it turns out no, they were glue guns. Yeah.
That's cool. And your older brother is someone you're close with?
We are not as close as a lot of the siblings that I meet on the day-to-day.
Okay.
We went to school together for like a year one time when we moved to back to North Carolina in like elementary school. But then ever since then, as I was going into a school, he was leaving.
Out. Yeah.
And he is very much a like quintessential archetypal jock, like superstar athlete.
Okay.
And
what
I
sport
was
or
he's
sports?
a football player.
Okay.
Yeah, he played a lot of sports, football, baseball, basketball, but he excelled in football, and he still coaches football to this day.
Cool.
Yeah, he coaches. He went to like he was one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the nation when he was in high school, and now he like does that. He like coaches those kids. He works with those quarterbacks.
Cool.
Yearly. So he'll come out to LA sometimes and do a camp or something, and I'll go visit him out at the beach, but we're very, very different people.
Yeah.
And so I only see him about once a year, twice a year. And then we're not big on like texting or FaceTiming or whatever, but he's got kids now, and I'm very curious of what it's like to be his kids, and also like they're one of the few kids that I get to talk to regularly.
Sure. And
so it's nice to have like some young ears to like play music to, or hear what's going on in their world. Still not much yet. I ask them what they're listening to or what's going on. It's whatever their parents are doing.
Sure. They haven't gone,
but they're so close to starting to like have their own world going on.
Yeah.
And I've known for a while, you could tell their personalities when kids are really young. You can tell like, oh, this one might be like the artist, or this one's going to be like the task rabbit that like is OCD and wants to get things done. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how they develop, and I'm trying to get them to come out to LA, but especially in this climate, it's not. I don't know when that's going to happen. Yeah. But we're always keeping a couple couches available, ready for if we ever want to have visitors.
Nice. That's awesome. What was, I guess, like your first job and work kind of history coming up until now?
Lots of firsts on this podcast.
Yeah.
It's like an origin story.
Yeah. The Jake Troth origin story.
Okay. Well, my first job. First or like first?
First. Like if you.
I remember selling store-bought cookies on the side of the road.
Okay.
With a bunch of people in Florida.
Okay.
After playing like my first video game with them, they were like, "You guys want to go sell cookies on the side of the street, cookies and lemonade?" So we did that for a day, and then they just like decided to stop and go somewhere. And I remember being like, I'm pretty sure I get a cut of the money that we made selling these cookies. So my mom came and got me, and I remember her coming to get me and me being like, hold on, I'm going to go inside and talk to my friend's mom and see if she has the money that we made from this. Cause like, I'm pretty sure I get a cut of this. Either that or like, I want the remaining cookies that we didn't sell. I think I took the remaining cookies.
Okay. Well, that's at least
every
something.
time I see those cookies now, they're like those little, they're kind of like little oatmeal cookies with a Hershey Kiss in the middle.
Okay.
You know these things?
Yeah.
Every time I see them, I think about that day.
That's funny.
So that might have been my first job.
Okay.
My first real job was delivering sushi at the restaurant in like the South where I grew up. We have a lot of NASCAR folk that live over there, and they love California rolls. They like order sushi, and they'll get fried rice and California rolls by like the dozen. So I would deliver sushi out in these like country roads to these very cultured NASCAR folk, and I would get these big tips. And then this was in like my first car, which was a Chevy Blazer that I bought from my cousin that ended up being a lemon. And there's like this whole thing about me and my cousin. Like I like am now like, that was crazy that they sold me a car that like broke down 2 months later. Lot of drama at Thanksgiving
from that.
Yeah, still. Yeah. So I delivered sushi, and then I was like, I want to make sushi because the sushi chefs probably make better money.
Yeah.
And it's a more respectable job, and I'm tired of like putting miles on my car. So I started rolling sushi after that when my boss expanded and got a new location, and I made less money doing that than I did delivering the food.
Because the tips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I got out of rolling sushi besides instead of delivering it was being able to feed myself while at work.
Yeah, that's a nice one. I had a close friend who's a sushi chef, and like was big into like the gym and became like basically bodybuilding size from the gym. And he was like working at the sushi restaurant, so he would regularly be
pack
like,
on
salmon
calories,
fillet. Yeah, it's like I was so jealous of that because I love food so much, and that restaurant is actually really good.
Yeah.
And so
it's
I can
not
understand
to
that.
be. Yeah, I mean, getting free if you work at a restaurant and you're getting. I just went to get an espresso before I came here at an Italian spot, and all the employees were eating really great meals from the restaurant before starting their shifts, and I was like, oh, that's like what I spend my money on most anyways.
Yeah.
Is food. And if I'm working a job where I'm fed, which being a songwriter, going to studio sessions pre-COVID, people would order food.
Yeah.
That's why I would go work with some people, because they just had the best menus.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I was like 25, 26 here in LA, and I would go to the studio and I'd be like, yes, I'm working with so-and-so today. Like they always order like the fire expensive lunch, and I'm going to get like 3 courses and a dessert.
Yeah.
And then eat whatever, like salad.
Leftovers or anything else that we can tackle. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'd do my best to deliver a song, but it was the least of my concerns, making a good song. I was just like so hungry. People are like, I moved to LA and I need people that are hungry. It's like, no, you need people that are hungry, not like hungry, because all we want is food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how you know you got confidence in your skills. If you're going to a session to eat, then the backside of it is you got to just make a song.
Yeah. I mean, the songwriting comes second. You have to like
be in the right headspace.
If you concern yourself more with the food than the song, you might come out with a better song.
Good tip.
You don't want to think about it.
Pro tip from one of my favorite songwriters.
Yeah, there you go.
So you were delivering sushi. You started rolling sushi.
Yeah.
Where'd you go from that?
I where did I go from there? My friend wanted to move after we graduated high school. My best friend at the time, who I was in a band with in high school, we were in like a screamo, like emo rock band where I played guitar. He wanted to move to San Francisco, and I think he had a car, but he wanted to know if I wanted to go out with him and if I would drive us. And I was like, cool. I was like, I'm not going to college yet. I'm taking a year off after high school because I don't know what I want to do after. I don't know what I would go to college to study. And so my parents were cool with me staying home, not going to school, and then working, and then getting better at writing and recording music, which I had just started doing senior year of high school. I got a laptop, started making tracks after hearing Kanye and Pharrell's album and Jay-Z and electronic producers like The Album Leaf and bands like Mogwai. Like skate music and hip hop is what I listened to a lot. So I just would make music all the time at home. And so I was honing in on like being a better producer, songwriter. And then this friend was like, you want to move to San Francisco? I was like, sure, I don't have anything going on. So we drove to San Fran. 2 weeks later, he got homesick and wanted to come back to North Carolina. And I had told myself I was moving to San Fran. And a lot of times, if I tell myself I'm going to do something, I need to do it. Even if all the plans change and it makes no sense to do the thing, I still get really like stubborn and bullheaded about doing that thing that I told myself I was going to do. Cause I like I don't know if it's cause I, think that if I don't do said, plan, I will be a failure of some sort. But like, I was not interested at the time going back to North Carolina. I was like, I'm going to stay in San Fran, spend all the money that I made rolling sushi and babysitting. I was doing some babysitting for the neighbors and stay out there as long as I could. So I went out and I recorded songs on my laptop. I like made my own burnt CDs and handed them out to people on the street. Went on Craigslist and found a place to live that was like an art gallery / artist community in Oakland.
Cool.
Moved there, met some people who were actual professional musicians and actual professional artists, all living in a kind of glamorous squalor inside of this multi-room artistic creative space. And I learned how to screen print. I learned how to multi-track record a lot better. I learned how to write better songs. And so I made an album cover. I made merchandise. I met lots of people in the artist community in Oakland, and I started to give out my CDs to people. They were all much older than me. These people were like, to me at the time, they were old as shit, but they were only like 33 to 40 years old. Sure. But when you're 17, yeah, and you are from across the country, like
big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. Like I wasn't even at drinking. I wasn't even allowed to drink yet, and these people were like having parties and like doing drugs and living the like art life in Oakland. And so I made music that I thought they would like, that I thought would was interesting to me. I was trying to fit in with like these art kids and also make catchy pop songs. Like my friend Graham, who was in the band Rogue Wave at the time, they were on Sub Pop. He called me Jake Troth because I was the kid in the artist community making like really catchy pop music. Because I was like listening to Coldplay and Kanye and who else? It was like 2007 was when all of this happened. So I was just kind of taking what I liked from all this music and then making a hodgepodge stew of my favorite stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And so I was there for a few months, like 4.5 months. And it was time to come home. I went home, got a job in a warehouse, moving freight. My mom wanted me to get like a blue collar job so that I would have some respect for people that like work really hard, and that I would like not want to stay home all the time. She wanted me to get a job so that I could want to go to college. Because at the time I was like, I don't see the point. Like, life seems pretty cool. But when you're working a job that you hate,
you start to see
you want to get out of there as soon as possible. And college sounds like sleepaway camp at the time. So I was working a job that I absolutely hated, that was terrible, that people who have the job that I was working with have been doing it for like a decade.
Yeah.
And their like bodies are like just ruined by moving all this freight all the time. And they're like, they have like asthma, and it was like so gnarly, the people that I would come across, but like genuinely great dudes, and
just in bad circumstances.
Yeah, just like I realized that like, holy shit, I'm really young, I like to perform, I need to like take some chances. And so I put together a portfolio of the things that I had done in my year off and applied to art school in Savannah at SCAD, and got in based off of all the things that I had done in my year off and all the art that I made in high school, which was not good, but it was just like, I was just, it was something that I did a lot of art, and it was what I liked to do the most. So I got into school and then took foundations classes, and like really enjoyed foundations classes. Because I was like, I'm the old one. I'm the old guy. I'm the old freshman.
Yeah.
Like, I'm older than everyone here because I like took a year off before going to school. So I felt like confident because I was like, you little shits, you don't know anything. Like, I've got a year under my belt of like living in Oakland. Like, I know real art. You know what I'm saying? And really loved art school. Really loved making new friends, and then playing shows for everyone, because there wasn't a lot of entertainment in Savannah. There wasn't like people to see or perform. Bands go to Atlanta, and then they go to like Nashville or Charlotte. They don't come to Savannah.
Huh, interesting.
So there was not a lot of live music there. And anytime I would have a show, everyone came. I would spend a week or two promoting the show around campus, which is downtown Savannah. And by the time I played the show, there was like hundreds of people there.
Whoa.
And I was not, at the time, worthy of hundreds of people coming to see me, but it was like the only thing to do. So I was singing songs that I wrote, doing a couple covers, and making beats in my dorm room, and like making sure that when I left the door open to our dorm room, like everyone on the hall would hear it.
Yeah.
So that everyone would know I'm the musician, so that everyone would know that I'm cool.
Yeah. Of course.
And so I wouldn't have to actually speak to anybody. I could just like, everyone would know already. And so I spent 2 or 3 years being the musician at SCAD at art school, studying fashion accessory design, making like shoes and luggage and leather goods, and hanging out in the fashion building, which is like 95% women, and playing music that I made for the women in the fashion building, trying to get like everyone to listen to my music.
Yeah.
And then when I got enough positive reinforcement from everybody, I was like, fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm going to LA. I'm going to be a superstar, a singer-songwriter, which is like kind of what I always wanted to do 5 or 6 years before that.
Okay.
But it seemed impossible. And then when I went to college, it seemed like, oh, like everyone's downloading free music, stealing music, and it's like Vampire Weekend or MGMT or whatever buzzworthy band was releasing album. Yeah. And then I was like, I just got to get my friends to listen to my music instead of these other people's music. And then they'll confuse me for being a real artist. And I remember the day that I left Savannah, there was a guy that I gave my album to, and I remember him saying something like, man, this sounds like actual like real music. Like sometimes when your music comes on my iPod, I don't even realize that I'm listening to my friend's music. I'm just listening to like
something I like.
Yeah.
Mission
I
accomplished.
was like, mission accomplished. Cool. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Like I need
I'm going to LA
I
on
need
that note.
5 million more people to say that to me.
Yeah.
So I went to LA and convinced some of my friends from SCAD to go out there who were directors or cinematographers studying at art school that I had met and made some music videos with, and came out to LA and just never really left. I've like tried to leave LA a few times after like feeling disenfranchised or feeling like shit wasn't working out, and then right as I'm about to leave or right as I get to my destination outside of town, like something happens that brings me back to LA, whether it's like a serious girlfriend or a record deal or a song finally getting to an artist and coming out. Like it's just like been up and down, and every time I'm down at this point I feel like I'm just like another couple days away from shit being like really up again.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I mean, I don't know how safe that is to feel about the world, but when I get really, really bummed out, I do have a thought in my head that like, okay, this is the low.
Yeah.
Soon there at least is going to be that moment where things get better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know the exact same thing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very, very similar in that spirit. Yeah. Oh yeah. This whole journey for me has been that, you know, there's been times where I've been like totally strapped. I mean, shit right now is basically one of them. I have like the most debt and the most like
on the out, huh?
Yeah. But with the most also in line for going up, you know, like COVID was really rough from a business standpoint. So like that drained me pretty bad. I did have a lot of like life rafts come, which in that cycle of, oh shit to great, I was going through that in like quicker ins and outs of those moments. And then I also decided to make the transition to like executive producer instead of recording engineer and like studio for hire.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like legwork to go into earning that position.
Yeah.
And like now Nick Grant and I have an album that's coming out on the 14th of January that I'm like really proud of. It's like the best body work I've been a part of so far in my 14 years of studio.
14s all over the place today.
Yeah.
Cool.
And there's a lot to look forward to and like look up to in what's coming.
Yeah.
You know, so I totally like, I feel like that's been, and it's funny because now I start to also look from the top side to know, oh shit, it's really great right now. Enjoy this, you know, eat an extra like thing at lunch or whatever, because like you're in the hot spot of the moment now and it's going to tilt back down towards, you know, some form of negative. So I've always tried to actually be aware on both sides.
I don't have that. I have the wherewithal to say that when things are bad, they're going to get better, but I do not have the wisdom to, while things are good, say, oh, it's probably going to get bad again, which is, I guess that's the thing I need to work on.
It softens it softens how bad is gonna get.
Oh, okay.
When you're already anticipating how you can lighten, you know, expensive or debt related things that are gonna drag you down. I mean, emotional things. I've always looked at life like it's all cycles, and you have like personal, like mental and physical health cycles. You have business, like financial up and down cycles. You have like friendship and family like relationship up and down cycles. And like you hope that you can avoid like the eye of the storm when all those things are bad together. You know what I mean? And like unfortunately I had that this year or last year, and like that I think was pretty close to like as bad as life gets. And so
oh my god, your neck is bleeding. Your oh my god, your head is literally falling off. You thought it could? Oh, it's getting way worse.
Yeah.
For those of you who can't see this, holy cow,
I'm dead on the spot.
Wow. There's
I was
just
literally about to be like,
blood and spleen
did
everywhere.
I get bit by something? What the fuck
Okay,
just
so
happened?
things are about to get really good, I guess.
Yeah, no, and they are. And that's something I like, I have recognized in a weird way that like the seemingly like worst or as close to feeling as worse as it can get is also behind me. So there's a weird like empowerment that came off that trail too. So it's interesting, but when you see those cycles and you're like, okay, cool, like maybe money's not so great, but like I've been really fortunate to meet like these awesome people, and like these conversations are a big booster for me. Or even just being a food lover, like, oh, I went and had like an awesome meal today to treat myself, like that shit like made my day. And then fortunately, like making music is like, if you lock in and make something great, it's like the best fucking feeling ever.
Yeah, I find that so my girlfriend and I, we've been trying to save money because we just bought a car.
Cool.
And the car is the nicest thing that either of us have ever owned.
Okay.
And so I immediately go into, okay, I need to save as much money on the rest of my life to like account for what we've just undertaken.
Okay.
And this means making sandwiches for lunch instead of ordering Postmates or going out somewhere.
Yeah.
And every time I make a sandwich now, I love it and myself. And it takes so much stress off of whatever I'm doing prior to and just after making the sandwich, which is most of the time working in the studio.
Yeah.
And it brings me back to this thing of like having other things to concern myself with allows me to take the heat off of the thing that I get my actual pleasure from, which is making art and music. So like I was making my favorite music when I was in college because I was basically not doing my homework that I should have been doing and not going to parties, which I should have been doing. I was like ignoring the things that I felt were obligatory, and like retreating into something that I really liked. And I think I'm trying to get back to that now, which is like, if I concern myself with making a sandwich more than I concern myself with making a hit song, I'm like heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because I've never made a good song thinking about making a hit song or a big song. They're always a result of like me concerning myself with other things and then distilling that down into music. Yeah. So that's been really good. I've been trying to get back into doing that and channeling my like 18 to 20-year-old self, which he was terribly awkward and like poorly dressed, but very free. A very free individual.
I didn't know you at that point in time, so I don't know. I don't have like much of a reference for what life and music sounded like from you in that chapter of your life. But I will say our encounters throughout knowing each other have been pretty great musically. And your album is like probably in my like top 20 of all time.
Wow.
That's how much I love that album.
Wow.
I really love It Is As If is such a good album.
Thanks.
Yeah. And so I don't know where you feel like you were at in the cycle of like creating that, or what the headspace was for creating that, or how you feel about that album in respect to what 20-year-old you was like. Obviously, like I know I was in that same headspace when I was 20. I was here. I didn't give a fuck about anything. I was working with a bunch of different groups. I was like, those guys were sneaking me into clubs when they were performing. I was just like experiencing it all. I kind of grew up in a similar like Park City, Utah at the time I grew up was like small, 7,000 people living there, like nothing going on with music, no family with music relationships. So like for me to just kind of come in and get lucky to hit like in a great path, it was just like so exciting. Such a new world to me to just like be doing that and be like recording songs and watching these guys like go perform them like a day or two later. And like just there's so much like excitement about that point in time. And I didn't really have like I didn't have this place, so I didn't have like a huge financial like thing to be mindful of. And I get that freedom. There's like a certain open, raw naturalness to just like not having that concern and just being able to be creative. That was like an awesome chapter of time.
Yeah.
But where are you at now with like with your creative process? Are you feeling like you're in sync with it, or is it feeling like it's something that you're kind of reconnecting to?
I have a hard time making things at home.
Okay.
Because I do share a place with my girlfriend.
Okay.
And it's not that she's by no means a like inhibitor of creativity. She's very creative herself. We both are like multidisciplined artists. She has much better taste than I do. But I get excited about going somewhere and feeling a new kind of energy, a foreign space, or channeling something, which is why I liked bopping around town, going into studios and top lining, because it allowed me to enter other people's worlds.
Sure.
And adopt whatever style they had going on, or whatever thing they had going on in their life. So right now today I had made a post about trying to find Airbnbs with pianos, because on Airbnb you can't search for amenities. You can't search in the amenities for a piano.
Airbnb, we gotta update that Airbnb.
I'm not the only one too.
I'm sure, especially here.
So this is, I know how to use the internet in a way that is like, I know how to do this. Where when I did It Is As If, the A&R, Maureen Kenny at Atlantic, I told her, I was like, I want to go to like upstate New York, and I want to write about this breakup that I just experienced while living in Brooklyn. And we need to find a place I can rent that has a piano. So somehow they did, and they found the perfect place. It was like a full-blown like 1990s cabin in the woods, big windows, lots of trees, a beautiful upright piano, and like the bare essentials. And so I posted up there for 2 weeks and wrote almost all the songs on the album over the course of like 2 weeks alone, and cut demos. I cut demos for like, I think it was something like 19 songs or something like this.
Wow.
Yeah, just stuff that I had built up these things within me, but I like couldn't do it at home. And I couldn't do it in a professional studio because I felt like I was like on the clock wasting money.
Sure.
So I needed to be in a place that was comfortable, that reminded me of like staying up after my parents went to bed and recording ideas until like 6 a.m. and then going to sleep. So I just posted up there and did that. And then now that it's come time for me to start working on whatever the follow-up to that is, I've started trying to find rental spots with pianos in them. So I put out a message, and no one had any information for me. So I had to I went on Twitter and I searched for the words Airbnb and piano, and I found there's like an entire list of people over the past few years that have been like, what's up Airbnb, like I want to find a piano. And I'm like, me too. Or there's like lots of people being like, oh my God, this Airbnb is so great and it has a piano. And so I like replied to them being like, hey, what's the link to that Airbnb?
Yeah.
And one girl today was like, you want the link to the Airbnb that I'm staying at right now?
Oh.
Absolutely not. And I was like, no, just like when you're done, like let me know where you are. So I put together a list today, and it's like places from like Berlin, Italy, New York, Seattle. So now I've told my girlfriend, like, when we travel, let's stay at places that have pianos, because like that's where I'm the most myself. When I'm like, it reminds me of like when I would play ball as a kid, and we would go like play away games at some team's field, and it was like all of a sudden 10 times more exciting, because like the dirt was different, the length of the backstop was different, the the crowd, the colors, the air, like everything is like so much more exciting when you're when you're out of not your comfort zone, but when you're out of the house.
Yeah.
And that's why COVID and the pandemic and quarantine, that was the biggest hurdle to get over for myself, was like, oh no, I have to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to make my home interesting and safe for me to like write in.
Yeah.
And I did the best I could, but like I did not make very good music. Music that I'm like very pumped about over the last 2 years. I did some work for other people, but for myself it was very difficult. But luckily in this world of like writing songs for other people, if you write a song in 2018 that's good, it's going to be good
pretty much until somebody cuts it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so
Good
I've
song,
gotten
it's a good
placements
song.
over the last couple years from songs that I wrote 2016, 2017, 18 or whatever, that like I had forgotten about, but like some A&R had a folder in their iTunes that was like Troth blah 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 demo, and then it got placed or whatever. So I did those when I was out of the house. And so there's not a lot of songs from like 2020, 2021 that are going to go anywhere because I didn't do a lot of work. I mostly was like working on myself and my relationship and trying to get better at golf, which is like the only way I can get out of the house and like not have to wear a mask and like go for a hike that's relatively flat.
I'm mad at myself for reconnecting with golf in the last 2 weeks and being like, oh my God, how was I not out playing golf through COVID, man?
I mean, I was doing my best to promote it. I was promoting the shit out of the game over the last year. A lot of people, I was worried. I was like, are people going to think of me as like my personality is not golf. Like, I don't want to like get golf presents for Christmas or whatever. Like, I want it to be something that I love and cherish, but that is a game and is like a hobby. But I did the best I could to invite a bunch of people out, and there's a ton of musicians that play golf.
A ton.
Musicians and skateboarders.
Huh.
I've noticed.
I didn't know skateboarders.
Yeah, something, I don't know what it is. Maybe because it involves like finesse and like it's stylish, and there's never really perfection. Like you're not really ever perfect, and you get obsessed with like getting as close as you can to perfection, but never really attaining it. It's really great. But
Especially,
yeah, you missed the boat. But you know what? I'll still go out and play golf with you.
Dude, so there's a producer I reconnected with last year. His name's Dominique. He goes by Bassman. He's a stand-up bass player. He's like a world-renowned, one of the best stand-up bass players in the world.
Cool.
And he randomly mentioned something about playing golf like 2-3 weeks ago that got like my wheels turning about playing. And he plays like 1 to 3 days a week. And he's like, dude, I go out with like a bunch of awesome like musicians and managers and people. Like, it's super fun. Like, it's just like, fuck, let me go back out and like get my swing back and like get some stamina back before I embarrass myself in front of everybody. And I've been doing that. And I'm just like, when I was younger, I wanted to be a professional golfer. Like, I played like 6 days a week.
God, it's so seasonal in Utah.
It is. But I was playing like 6 days a week as like a 10-year-old.
Wow.
My dad we were a member at a like private country club. I was biking distance away from it. They kept my clubs there.
Yeah.
I would go like at my favorite time to go is like maybe like 4 o'clock. I would leave. I would literally be walking the course by myself playing, and like going into like that magic hour sunset, like just everything's just like so tranquil and like beautiful. And like the zen like cut of like a nice golf course is like, man, for me it's perfection. Like I love like the way it's all organized, the way it's all put together. You see like the staff and the people who maintain it all.
It's like a garden that you can
play
gamify. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of built a lot of friendships through it. In the past few years, like there's just kind of this like, you know, when you hang out with someone for 4 hours anywhere else, it can get kind of boring or whatever, but on the golf course you see the absolute best and worst of people in such a revealing way.
Yep.
And yeah, you want to get a little, you want to make sure that you don't suck in front of these people.
Yeah.
In the same way that like when you show up to a session, you don't want to like be the dude without any input in the song, like being like, I don't get it or whatever. Or like, oh shit, I can't play this guitar lick, or I can't play these drums because they're da-da-da-da. You just gotta, there is a bit of like craft ability, but then there's also creativity. And over the last couple of years, my girlfriend has gone from like not understanding why I want to play so much and being like kind of resentful of it to being fully supportive of it because of the relationships that I've built on the course with people. And it's been so great for my mental and getting back in touch with who I was growing up, because I like grew up on a golf course, played a little bit when I was a kid, and it makes me it like reminds me that I'm not some robot that's just failing upwards trying to become a famous singer or whatever. Like I'm like a whole person who sucks at golf sometimes and hits a couple good shots every now and then. And not being able to play with my friends who are in Europe, who can't come back over to the States yet because of COVID shit, it's been such a bummer. But like we're planning trips and like we're like, it's when you have the when you're an adult and you can get into something and you have a new hobby, you like buy the shoes, get the swag, get the drip, like focus, like every detail is you're like, oh shit. Like I remember when I used to like care about what guitar strings I put on my guitar. Now I don't care about them. I care about like what golf balls I have. Cause like I don't want someone judging me based off of like me not having like tight balls or whatever. So it's a new thing to like obsess over. It is a bit of a money pit, but I'm trying to take what I like about fashion and thrifting and making things yourself and apply it to this thing that is like has bad PR when it comes to like how sustainable it is, or like how classist it is. So like I'll like make my own putters out of stone that my girl gets that she sources from like stone suppliers for her interior design projects. Or I'll like,
no way, that sounds so cool.
And I'll go to Goodwill and like recycle clubs, or like hunt down old bargains on eBay, or look for hand-me-downs or whatever. Like, you know, people have been playing the game for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And they were really like, the scores aren't really getting that much lower. So like whatever the equipment is, it's not
that much
it's
better.
A marketing ploy how much better the equipment is getting. Like certain clubs, drivers, like you probably want to have a new driver, but like I think you can play. I played in Connecticut with my girlfriend's dad's clubs from the 80s, and I played literally the best round I'd ever played.
No way.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I don't need to buy new clubs ever. I need to buy the right clubs.
Yeah. I'm in that process right now because I have had the same set of clubs since I was probably 10 years old.
It's very like grass is greener, I think. I mean, I think, you know, you're an adult now. You should probably work on your technique and your swing for the body that you've got now. Because you might be thinking like, oh, I'm still the same 10-year-old kid. I should be able to, you know, shoot the same numbers or whatever. But you're not the same dude.
I'm not at all.
You might have like a similar move, but like it's not the same.
It's not the same. Like today I played 9 before I came in here today, and like I hit a 250-yard drive, and like the caddy that we had and my friend Tony that I was playing with, were like, "That's great, great drive, blah blah." And I was like, "What the?" Like I used to hit like a 320 yard, 340 yard drive. Like this,
that's
sucks, And I'm like, I can't believe this is where I'm at. But then I look at like, all right, 2 years. I mean, 14 years. Like pretty much right when I stopped playing golf a lot, I moved here and I started engineering. So I've been like sitting in a chair for
your
14
back
years.
is like molded to a new shape by now.
Yeah, and then add in 2 years of COVID, like doing fuck all nothing, and like even less physical activity, and just being like, well, food makes me happy, so I'm just gonna eat this extra.
Yeah. I've heard this argument. Oh yeah, I dated someone one time that was like, if it makes you happy, eat it. And then I'm like, well, Sour Patch Kids make me the happiest, so I'm gonna eat. No, that's not the way it goes.
Yeah, it's not the smartest way to go. And so I'm working backwards out of the hole I dug myself right now.
Yeah.
And like literally like the pains of all of it are like, yep, okay, this is what we're dealing with to like get back into it. But I went through the same kind of checklist that you just described. It was like, oh, I haven't played golf in a long time. Maybe I need to get new clubs. Maybe I need to do this, get that, get this, and like it'll make me want to play. And then I was like, I talked to a friend, and he kind of gave me that wisdom to just be like, dude, it's not about any of that shit. Like
Tigers used the same putter for like 28 years or something like this, and you might think, oh, it's just a putter. No, all the clubs I think are like that, except the driver, which like is a whole different material. It makes a drastic difference. But sometimes I'll go out there without my driver and I'll play better than when I have it. So it's just like, I don't know, man. You can play basketball in Chuck Taylors and probably still ball out,
dunk, still be the best on the team.
One thing that I did, though, I mean, if we're talking about like growth and autobiographical like decisions and things, whatever, self-preservation, I did start having a personal trainer. I met this guy at the dog park because we got a dog in February, and I had brought a golf club to the dog park like a psycho because I was like, I got to change the loft of this club. Like the club is not like, it's not working. Like I'm not hitting my drives the way I used to, bro. Like it's the club, whatever. So the guy was like, hey, I train golfers sometimes if you want a free personal training session to see if you're into this. And I was like, cool, let's do it. No, at first I was like, nah, I'm good. And then I went and played the Pasadena City tournament, like the citywide annual tournament, and scored dead last. Like had a complete meltdown. Like 10 cup times 10. Like the numbers so high they didn't fit on the scorecard. And finally I went back to the guy and I was like, hey, I think I'm ready to like
do whatever you can help me
with. Please. So I've been seeing this guy twice a week and making sandwiches to
make up for it.
Yeah, just like cutting as many corners as I could, or I don't know what cutting corners is the phrase, but like saving as much money as I could elsewhere to do this. Yeah. This has like completely transformed not only my golf game but my mental health. I used to hate running. I used to hate doing things that were like not gamified. I could play baseball, I could hike, but like if it involved just like exercise for exercise sake, I couldn't do it. Yeah. And now I know why I'm exercising, and it's like to get better at this hobby, to be stronger, to be able to practice longer, to like better hone in my body for this thing I want it to do. And it's like completely changed my game. I'm crushing it. I'm crushing the ball. And I can go to a swing coach and he'll be like, tweak this, do this. And now I have the body to like understand what to do with it. Whereas before it was like mostly fat and like I was like skinny fat dude, like totally not healthy, thin and fat at the same time somehow.
Yep. That's been me pretty much since high school.
And so now I'm like, I have these muscles in the places that they count. Get your mind out of the gutter. And doing what I want with my body, like in the way that I want to. And it's so much better. and I'm probably going to take a break from seeing the guy probably in a little bit, so that I can focus on some other thing instead of like the personal one-on-one training. Like maybe try to see how much discipline I have to do shit myself at home.
Yeah.
Which is why I saw this kettlebell here, and I was like, oh, I should probably be lifting the kettlebell today at least a couple times. Dude, game changer. Really great.
Yeah.
And after 2 years of, hanging out inside, not doing anything physical, like it's just it feels so good.
Yeah.
And I get now why I'm so bummed that I didn't have that bug early on in my life. Like I had friends that in high school that were just like hitting the gym together. I have no idea why. But now I get that it's like, oh, it feels good, and it's like applicable to other parts of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't help me write songs. It doesn't help my like track making or like my songwriting or whatever, but it does clear out some junk in my head to like make space for creativity. I guess.
think that's where it does help. I'm like I've failed myself in committing to actually hire the guy, but same thing happened with me. I've been helping this guy in North Hollywood build a studio. Like I also, as like a side job, get hired to just help people build studios now.
Yeah, because they see what you have going on, and they're like, oh, I want to do that.
And I left his house one day, and he had a trainer that was like walking out the door as I was walking in. So I was like, all right, I've been a lazy fat piece of shit for like a long time. What's your number? And like he came over, did like a strength and endurance like test for me, and I was like, okay, not as bad as I thought, but my like legs from like my butt to my toes,
yep, those are your legs,
are so tight. Like I was laying on the ground, and he did like a mobility test where you like keep one leg flat and lift this leg up, and like he was like, yeah, you should be able to get to like 90 degrees. I got like 15, and I was like, tight, and then like the other one, same thing. And he was like, dude, even if we don't even work together, like you need to fix that. Like just take like a jump rope or a rope and like put it at the ball of your foot and like
you need to
lift yourself up and do that a few times a day. And I still haven't done that, and I still haven't hired him to like get into training 1-2 days a week just to like rebuild, because I'm so out of it. Yeah. I'm so out of that routine. Like I was actually pretty good at going to the gym for the sake of like maintenance before COVID, but I'm not really doing anything physical wearing a mask. Yeah. Like you cannot get me to do that. It doesn't work for me. I can't be indoors working out, sweating, breathing my ass off wearing a mask. Like I will pass out, and I refuse to like see it any other way. So it's been bad for me, and I've just been a major procrastinator.
Well, even the trainers themselves have a hard time like doing their like, it's not easy. Yeah. To get I have to like basically feel like I'm going to disappoint someone to get myself to go do it. Yeah. Because like if it's me, I'd be like today, I was supposed to see the guy on Tuesdays and Fridays. I texted him yesterday. I'm fully in town and back and ready to do it. But I was like, are we doing it tomorrow? And he was like, dude, I didn't know you were already back. Like, totally, if you want. And I was like, let's wait. I didn't even give him a reason. I didn't make anything up. It was just like, nah, let's not. Yeah. So I'll see you Friday. And then what did I do? I came in here and I felt guilty. So I lifted the kettlebell a couple times. Yeah. But it's because it's not fun. It's not. There's no way to win. There's no way to like score it or get or like getting better at it. It's still hard. It's like the second I get really good at lifting a 47-pound kettlebell, he's like, let's put a 65-pound kettlebell in your hands, and then you can suck again for 4 more weeks. Yeah. I'm like, no. Yeah. No, reward me by letting me do less. Yeah. Don't make me do more stuff. Yeah. That's what you get with the gym. Yeah. Yeah. That's not, I don't know. So I going back to golf, I'll walk. I don't ride in the car. Yeah, we did that today. I burn a shitload of calories and carry a bunch of heavy shit on my back for 4 hours or whatever. If I play bad, that means I swing the club a lot. That means I'm getting more of a workout. Yeah.
It's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. But it's crazy how like when you're doing something creative, like writing a song or thinking about a story or whatever, like your brain works so hard and you just become like a stupid idiot vegetable afterwards. Like you're so tired. And it's a lot like working out where you do something like intensive for 30 minutes and then you're spent. And yeah, I don't know. I think all the muscles, you just have to like engage them. This is now turning into like a guy who doesn't know anything about physical therapy telling people what to do to like fix themselves. But the last 2 years they've been shitty.
Yeah.
And if you do something physical, like pick up a physical hobby, tennis or golf or whatever, or you start going to the gym, like it objectively, without a doubt, will make you feel better.
Yeah.
So you can either like continue to feel the way you feel, not doing anything about it, and just think that things are, you can like tell yourself like, I'm going to go drink a juice today. That'll make me feel good. But like, no, man, you could like drink Yoo-Hoos all day and go to the gym and like have someone yell at you for 30 minutes telling you what to do correctly, and you'll feel way better.
Yeah.
So
I do love a good Yoo-Hoo though.
yeah. God, they're so good. Yeah.
All
right, we're probably running low on time, huh?
I mean, it's honestly whatever you got time wise, but I do want to jump back into like for you with music, what was like the duality of getting into like songwriting for other people? Was that like your starting point, or that just happened to be like as you were writing and as you're being creative, it was like, oh, I wrote this thing and it doesn't quite suit the story I'm telling, so I'll see if somebody else would like this record? Or was it like I'm starting that direction and getting into like the early stage of the business side of it too? Like, was that something where it was like, oh, I want to get a publishing deal and I want to go for writing for other people, or
that stuff?
Yeah.
I was totally ignorant. I didn't know anything about any of that. My mom actually would tell me like, you need to write songs for other people, because she like saw someone on Oprah one time that was a songwriter that had never met the artist and was super rich. And my mom was like, you could do that. You just got to have like you just got to write one song for someone else that does well, and then you'll be good forever. But I was just like, that's not even a thought that my brain has. Like my brain was like, you got to make the cool songs so that you'll play the cool shows and get the cool girls who are hot and like the guy like you could be if you do this stuff. So my brain was in that world like the entire time I was in my teens and early 20s. And then when I moved out here, I met someone who knew a producer that only made music for other people.
Okay.
Is J.R. Rodham.
Okay.
And they set me up with him and sent me to Beluga Heights, which at the time was working at a Chalice studio on Highland. And I went to this studio, and on the wall was like Gwen Stefani, like Britney Spears plaques, 50 Cent plaques, like all this music that I had like listened to. And I could like, when I looked at the plaque, I'd be like, damn, I do like that song. Even though like that's a pop ass song on like pop radio. Like I remember where I was when I would sing along to that song. And so I was like, okay, this guy is good at his job. This seems cool. So maybe he can help me make a cool song for myself. I don't know what. And then I went in there and I wrote a song. I can't even tell you what it is because I might still use it to this day. And it was like easily 11 years ago. The song hasn't gone anywhere yet, but it's an unfinished idea. But I remember I made this song and he made it into like a J.R. Rodham type song, which is like, he has a very, like, I feel like I can pinpoint when I hear a song on the radio that he's made it. There's something about, he has like a touch. And he played it back to me after we made it. And I was like, this isn't a song that I would do. This seems like a song that someone else should sing. And then he was like, yeah, we're going to send it to like Jason Derulo or someone like a new artist at the time who no one really knew about. And I was like, cool. I don't want to sing this song. I'm like kind of embarrassed by this song because it's like so not cool. It's like it's not West Oakland like art vibes. It's the total antithesis to like that. And so I realized that I had a knack for writing songs that could be on the radio, that were also kind of left of center, inspired by like my obsession with trying to be cool indie kid, that I had a knack for that. And I started to work with him some more, meet some more producers, and just was myself in the room as an outsider working with those people that had access to the inside. And then all the like business of it didn't happen until I needed it to happen. So like once I was seen as someone that could make non-musical like music business people money, like a potential client, that's when people like started to like salivate and like try to take advantage of me contractually, or try to like I don't know, waste my time bringing me in to write songs for people that like were just fucked up people that like needed to fix themselves before they like had a career of some sort. Like there was a lot of like, I'll work with anybody because I'm new here. Yeah. But that meant like I worked with a bunch of people that like didn't end up doing shit because it was like a bunch of people like myself that were new to all of this, that people were taking various chances on. Sure. Publishing deals and that kind of stuff. I had a song that when I went to Atlanta through this friend and met, shout out Daniel Kuniansky. When I went to Atlanta to visit him, he knew Mr. DJ and he knew the Organized Noise dudes in Atlanta. And so I just ended up working with Mr. DJ on songs that I thought were going to be for myself. Cause I was like, I'm going to make this kind of album and do this. And my friends and I are going to make a movie and it's going to be the soundtrack. And like, I started having these big ideas. He like didn't show up to the studio one day and I made this demo. And then when he finally got there, like a couple hours late, I played it for him and he was like, oh, that'd be perfect for Big Boy. Like I just left Big Boy. I just talked to Big Boy. He's trying to make a new album. I'll bring that to his house tonight and play it for him. And so I gave it to him and he added some sauce to it and played it for Big. And then Big wanted to cut it, but didn't cut it immediately. It was just kind of like, oh, he wants to do this song. I'll let you know how it goes. It's because I didn't know shit about like, you know, people. I know when I told someone at the time, like, I want to do this song, I would go home and do the song and then give it back to them. Yeah. Because I didn't want them to like think that I was flaky. Yeah. But with, you know, more established artists, they'll just be like, cool, I'm gonna save that, don't play that for anybody, and then like they don't do shit with it. Well, Big did something. He like booked a house in LA like 10 months later or something, and came out to LA. I got a call, yo, you want to come to the studio and finish that song for his album? Cool. I'll skateboard up to the studios, like right up the street. Sweet. Showed up to the house, cut the record. A few other people came through, like Kid Cudi came through. I watched them do the song that they did. Dot the Genius was there. There was all these like creative people that were stopping by, and I saw the process of how the album is put together. Cool. And that was one of the times where like right before that I was like, I'm about to leave. I don't know what's going on with any of this shit, but it feels like I'm failing. And then I don't know, like a week or two later, it was like, yo, you want to come to the studio and work with Big Boy? And I was like, I'm back in. Like, yeah, like I knew this whole time it was going to work out. Woo. Yeah. And then, I cut the record, but like I didn't have business shit together at that point. I had management, but they had never managed someone before, and they were interested in their own film career that they wanted to build. And the pieces were not fitting together. It was kind of like they helped me believe in myself enough to move out to LA, because they wanted to move out to LA for film stuff. And then I moved out here with Alex Goose, who's a great producer, great collaborator. He and I had the same management for a bit or whatever, and then like we parted ways with them. And then when I got the Big Boy record, I needed someone to look out for me, because they were going to put the record out without, even though I sang on the song and wrote the song and co-produced the song, it was mostly my song at that point, to be honest. Until we all built the record together, it was like, can I get some more water?
Oh yeah, I got you. I need to get like a picture and have like a little picture on the table. Make life a little easier.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man.
Okay. Back to so I didn't have management until I needed them. And I needed them because I had written this song, co-produced the song, co-written, co-produced, sang on the song, and they were going to put the song out without a feature saying that I was featured on it. Well, they didn't know, because I'm not the one that's going to be like, hey man, I'm not going to strong arm somebody and be like,
Yeah.
And by me even asking for like my due credit in my mind, that's like strong arming someone or whatever, but which is not true. Like, it's very easy to just be like, hey man, look out for yourself. But at the time, I was like a kid, and Big Boy's Big Boy and that whole crew, like they had their way of doing things that I didn't want to step on anyone's toes. So I didn't ask for a feature credit. Well, the record came out and didn't have my name on it anywhere. So in between the record coming out and us performing the song on David Letterman, I got a manager, and the manager was like, how do you feel about all this going on? And I was like, oh, well, I'm actually like kind of concerned, because I thought this was going to be like my big break, and like my name's not even on the song. So like no one knows that I did it. And like, basically I'm like still as invisible as I was 6 months ago. And she was like, okay, I'll talk to him. So they talked to him. And then when we go perform the song on Letterman introduces the song as like Big Boy featuring special guest Jake Troth. Here's the song Apple of My Eye. So like that was a thing that was like, oh, I gotta have someone looking out for me, like for my best interest, because I'm not good at even knowing what to ask for, because there are all of these nuances in the business of music, whether you're an artist or a producer or a writer or whatever. Like if you don't have a mentor that's taught you how to do all this stuff, like you got to have someone looking out for you, which I did. I got that. And that was a real pivotal moment in like my career. So that took me from like being like, I'm an artist and a songwriter who doesn't know what's going on, that wants to make stuff and wants other people to pay for it and wants to tour and like, you know, fuck off and travel and do this, like whatever. I got someone that was like, cool, here, tell me all the things that you want to do and let's make it happen. And I'll talk to the people that actually can make that happen for you. So that was a huge moment. And I was with Jules for like, I don't know, I guess it was like, feels like forever. She's like my family at this point, but yeah, we were together for a long time. And then when COVID happened and all my plans changed, I had to like reassess what I wanted to do with myself and my career. Because that record that you're talking about, I had put it out, had a world tour planned, and then the world shut down, tour got canceled, record stopped being promoted, they moved on to their other artists. Like you have like a window.
Yeah.
That you have
you were building, you were taking flight.
Yeah.
With the So Far tour, and like that was.
Yeah. Never really got the wheels up on that flight. Very happy that I got a record, a pressed vinyl record, like artifact of that moment in time that is a collection of songs that I'm incredibly proud of. And you know, who knows, maybe if I went on tour it would have taken off, or maybe I would have spent 3 years thinking that I was like some kind of unrecognized genius that like wasn't getting my fair shake of things or whatever. But like I think whatever happened, and I've been trying to learn from that what I can. And that is, I'm still the same guy that wrote those songs. I don't like necessarily showing up to places and playing the same songs over and over and over more than I like showing up to a brand new place and writing a brand new song with brand new people. I think who I am, and whether it's like ADD or whether it's like the need for collaboration and community, I need to like work on new shit with new people in order to feel satisfied. And showing up to places and playing my music, the same songs over and over, is less fulfilling than writing new music all the time, and like seeing how many songs I can make with how many good songs I can make with how many good artists.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think that's an important thing to recognize. You know, I went through similar experiences in my path, and you know, like I never performed live, and it just was never appealing to me. But I've always felt like music's a collaborative sport. It's like way more fun to do it with other people than it is to be by yourself. You know, like I have this amazing studio. I've collected all this awesome equipment at this point in time. I feel like I have crazy inspiration when I'm like working with people generally on like their songs, and like I'll have all these ideas that are bubbling, and then I'll either make my suggestions or take notes of certain things. But then when I'm like, okay, cool, I have this like 4-hour window to myself, like I'm going to go make a song, I'll like start that path and then just feel like I'm wasting time. There's other things I could be doing that are going to be better. I don't have like that same energy, and I just don't have the discipline as like a songwriter to stay the course until the task is complete.
Yeah.
And as an engineer, I observe that's the strength of songwriters. It's not about like the ease of, oh, I did this in 15 minutes and this song's amazing and it came out, you know, so great and I'm so great. It's like the willingness to stay pursuing the goal of finishing the song, and the like just the challenge of completing the puzzle, you know. And I've observed that for so long that it in a way makes me feel like I'm really good at doing it. But then the actual doing it, you know, it's a whole different animal. And I'm finding my new role in where I'm at, which is really like executive producing, because I'm really good at bringing people together. I can still provide my input from like the top level, but the bulk of the work is knowing these people play really well together.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can, from the engineering side, tackle like everything sonically. So I'm like recording, mixing, mastering all the projects, and within that arranging. And, you know, I think about like, what other things would I want to do within music? And a part of me has looked at like live sound engineering, because that little experience I got from doing that, and we were doing shows down here that I was engineering, was super fun. But I still just think about like the enjoyment of being in the studio and having that like creative collaboration just is like it's the best.
Yeah.
It's really just
discovering shit is, there's people that when they perform songs that they've already made, they discover things.
Yeah.
Which I recently played my friend's wedding, and I played the Queen on a piano at their wedding for their first dance. And I like actually had a moment in the song where I was like, discovering something in the song, and I like improvised and made it felt like I was writing the song again. But most of the time it doesn't feel like that. And so there has to be somewhere in my day where I'm like discovering something. Sometimes it happens in golf. If it could, I would make it happen in music all the time. But yeah, there has to be like search and discovery, then vision, and then completion.
Yeah.
And I think being in the room with other people allows me to dedicate one of those three things to the people in the room. So like, you know, I have a great time writing with certain people, but like we're only the idea and the vision side.
Yeah.
And then the song never gets finished.
Yeah.
My favorite people now are the grinders that finish it.
Yep.
Those people are not a dime a dozen. They are a rare commodity. And I think really experienced, wise people in the industry know that talent when they see it, or know that skill when they see it, and they swoop them up.
Yeah.
They like scoop them. I know like Mike Karen, publisher and producer, executive producer, everyone that I meet that is like Mike Karen's favorite person is a finisher. They're like a musically trained, classically trained, like Berkeley style kid.
Yeah.
That is just, they'll finish shit. And it's fun to be in the room with them because you'll come up with an idea on your voice memo that you had for like 2 years or whatever. And you're like, here, I got this idea, this melody. And then the song over the course of 4 hours gets finished.
Yeah.
As opposed to like linking up with some friends at the studio that someone is spending, you know, $300 to $3,000 on. And no one in the room is tasked with the job of like
finishing.
Hey, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
There's got to be a bow on this somewhere.
Yeah.
You could get a long way just being a finisher.
Yeah.
Like the music that you listen to was finished.
Yeah.
Okay? No one listens to your unfinished shit.
Yeah.
So all the music that you've got sitting around, just finish like 6 of them.
Yeah.
Over the course of like 2 months.
That's it.
You'll feel better than you felt in 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the best things I did in college was I told myself, I'm going to make a mixtape. I'm going to spend a month making a mixtape. I'm going to do 25 songs in 25 days, and I'm going to finish the mixtape, and I'm going to do the cover art. I'm going to make music videos, and then I'm going to share it with everyone. But it's going to get done in a certain amount of time. It was the best thing I ever did for myself because I finished so much shit. It wasn't even like, the songs weren't even like, you know, 3.5 minutes, 2 verses, 3 choruses, whatever. There was like, I just found a way to complete the ideas.
Yeah.
And then moved on to the next one.
Yep.
But I didn't have a bunch of open sessions being like, man, if only I could get J. Cole on this song. If only I could get fucking, I don't know, anybody. If only I could get so and so to like help me, da da da. I just was like, I'm just gonna do the best I can with what I got and just make sure that it's done.
Yeah.
And those are the things that moved me forward or upwards or out of my world that I was trying to get out of and into the right direction.
Sure.
And I think with, you know, you every time I see you now, you're doing you've moved into a new place of like, now you're doing podcasts and they have a visual aspect to them. Whereas you were only doing visuals before of people performing songs, and you were prior to that doing recording, engineering, producing. So like you have that finisher's ability, clearly. And then I think knowing, I think finishers can get concerned eventually with, well, I'm doing this stuff, and then what's happening to it?
Yeah.
Like, where is it even going? Like, why am I finishing this stuff? But like, I think you have to really appreciate the fact that you're actually doing things, as opposed to coming up with the ideas for doing stuff and then watching them never happen.
Yeah.
Like, I went to I set New Year's resolutions the other day, and I'm just now, after like 15 years of having an idea for a graffiti, like a kind of like street art person, like, idea.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just now doing that. Like, I went to the paint store and I was like, give me this, I need this and this, because I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And here's what it's going to be. And I'm not going to not do it anymore. I don't care if it's like not cool anymore. I don't care. Like,
yeah,
there's an unchecked box in my brain that I have to finish.
Yeah.
So I'm at that point in my life right now where I'm like, oh God, I am so sick of having this idea and not doing it, that I'm just going to do it now. I don't care who sees it. I don't care what it's about, but it's that quote that you see all the time. People love to share this shit on social media where they're like, don't do it for the money, do it because you love it. And then I'm like, okay, well, what do I love? Oh, I love music. Music makes me money. I kind of do it for the money too, because it's like what I do for money.
Yeah.
So now I got to find something else that I only love that doesn't make me money. Well, it was golf. Well, guess what? I'm on the money list at the local country club. Like, I started making money playing golf because I got good enough to like start winning golf matches or whatever. Okay, so now I can't play golf not for the money. So now I'm out here on my Banksy doing street art,
Yeah.
because it's something that I like. There's an idea in there that I love, that I really want to do and execute. And I don't care I don't care anything about. It's just, I want to feel like I'm finishing something.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to do in music when you're a collaborator.
100%.
And you like want to share it with people. And it's even harder when it becomes your career, because then you have the pressures of doing all that and like it paying off and paying bills. And then you have input from other people who can't sing a tune, who have an idea of what they think the market's going to be like, or what you got to do to like make a streamable song.
Yeah.
How you got to like mention a day of the week in it, or like all these like dumb things that get in the way of the part that is like the most important part, which is having a good idea or being inspired, having a vision for it, and then finishing it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do things now in my life that I'm like, I want to be a finisher. I want to be like you, Nick. I want to like pick something that is interesting to me and like actually do it, and not just be like judgmental of everyone else that's doing it, thinking that I could do it better.
I mean, there's levels to that. Like for me, I have some of those like unchecked boxes too. It's just like, it depends on like the level of ambition, like I've been wanting to build a music-based social network platform, like a new streaming platform, new social network, like hybrid thing for 10, 11 years. And like I've tried a few times to self-fund it with like money I've made from the studio, to the point where I've like almost lost the studio because like I'm paying a $10,000 to $15,000 a month salary of engineers and
like
graphic designers.
People,
yeah. And that's still something that I find like is a deep desire for me to do, but it's so expensive.
Well, yeah, I think the if I'm not mistaken, all the streaming platforms of any note were started by people who were already gajillionaires.
Would make sense. Yeah.
Wasn't Spotify founded by a guy who was like making money from Pirate Bay?
I didn't know, but I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean,
And Apple Music is Apple.
Yeah. I mean,
Tidal is like
Jay-Z and like.
No, I
come from bootstrapping.
And you're not the first person that's told me that they're trying to like come up with a new way of doing things.
Yeah.
And then it's just so fucking expensive to do it.
Yeah.
And you can't expect people to just do it for free or do it for equity.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean,
because it's time. It takes a lot of time.
it's insane, you know, and that's where it becomes like, but for me, that's always now remained in me as a unfinished thing. Like, I have to do this before I die, like at whatever cost. The cost of like being fully broke and having nothing is like worth the completion of this task.
Oh, wow.
Because
this is a big task.
It's huge. I used to, like, with the team that I had, I would say that it was like building one of the biggest hotels in the world with like 3 people. You know, like, that's not how big hotels are built.
Yeah.
But I had amazing
I built my
people.
hotel with it was 99 people.
So
I
it's
wanted
doable.
it to be an even 100.
It's doable.
So I hired 99 people to build our hotel.
But
yeah.
I am determined to see that through, because I've been a big fan of music since I can remember, like as a 5-year-old kid, 6-year-old kid, and on. I just loved listening, and it would be more that I like would listen to one song obsessively than it would be like I'm a huge fan. Like, I have terrible music history knowledge.
Okay.
Almost all of the major artists in the world I never listened to the full album of. But there was still just like such a deep obsession with me about music that it led me to build a studio, start recording music with people. I fell into engineering, and like I spent 14 years in a studio engineering, like, and building the studio.
Wow.
Like, off the love of music purely, you know? And that whole time I felt like, as a fan of music, there's not been a place that I can go to that's exciting for me to like experience and share music and discover music with, like, with my friends. Like, the fact that the streaming platforms still haven't given me the ability to say like, hey Jake, here's a link to my playlist. We can, like, I can DJ for you. I can like press play at the same time, and we'll like listen to the same song. And then I can pause it and we'll stop. And I can go to the next song and we'll listen together. Like, the fact that that simple functionality hasn't been created.
Tether function.
Essentially.
You should call your thing Tether.
Well, so Connect 2 is the new name for it, and I'm now starting with the podcast as Connect 2 is the studio that's producing the podcast, and the podcast network that I want to build will be a division in this platform.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I've decided to like start here. And obviously with like all the music I'm making, that like the catalog is also planning to go that direction. And I'm just keeping the muscle of being a finisher and building those muscles of finishing projects faster and getting better at it, so that when this platform exists, like, I'll have the place for it to live that I feel is the best place for it to live.
Great.
So
Well, it's a good thing you're interviewing me, because now everyone's going to get on board.
Yeah. I feel like you have that power, you know, like Mike Karen or whoever else is going to be calling me like, that guy's a finisher. Let's give him 10 million. I'm ready for it. But yeah, you know, it becomes like, how ambitious do you want to get? And I was just having this conversation with this guy, Gabe, yesterday about, like, you know, also wanting to build a venue and like have a series of venues where, like, my ideal day is I can wake up in the morning, have like a podcast type conversation with somebody. In the afternoon, I can have a 4-hour, 5-hour, 6-hour recording session. And then after that, I'll go be like live sound engineer at the venue and like put on a concert. And like, that's like my ideal work day. So like, I'm working towards building that.
It sounds like a bar. This sounds like what bar owners do.
It's to some degree, you know, and I'd like to be doing that like
not to
3 days
diminish
a week.
what you're saying, but like, it reminds me of when I was in metal bands and we would go and I would meet the owner of whatever the bar is that we would play, that was like pretty much just like a dive bar all day, and then suddenly it was a venue. That person would be there all day.
Yeah.
There's guys that run, like Barra, who runs the Barracks skate park. Like, he probably makes content at the skate park, and if he's still skating, he skates at the park, and then at night they probably have events at the park. It like becomes your like
lifestyle.
Yeah, it's like a whole lifestyle. Yeah.
I look forward to that being like the next chapter for me. That's like really what my main focus is. Like, I've given myself like 3 more years here in LA, and like 3 more years of like hardcore music grind making as many albums and projects as I possibly can, trying to have these podcast conversations with everybody that's in my network locally here before like picking up and like leaving LA and finding like the next destination to set up camp. And like that's the building I'm looking for, is like a place that I can have kind of like Largo, you know, like a 200, 300 person theater that's got like really just nice comfortable seats.
Isn't
and a cool
it so
stage
romantic,
and
the thought of like owning the Largo?
yeah, amazing. And like at this point, you know, like knowing the people I know, it's like, why not, you know? Because like I can only call people to come to like a session, like work on a song or be featured on a song like so many times before it's kind of like, all right, that's run its course.
Does this have to be a physical space now that
No.
the metaverse exists? Like, can't this can't these things be all in one? Like, can't you have a podcast in a digital space and then do a session connecting people remotely, people from all over the place in a space, and then do a performance in a digital space?
100%.
Yeah.
Like it's not done in a way that I feel like is personal enough yet. Like obviously the metaverse whole thing is new, and like people don't have the, you know, VR headsets and the technology to be like, oh cool, yeah, I'm like tapped into this, I'm ready to do this. Like the quality of the audio, the streaming, the latency, like hopefully 5G or whatever, 6G or whatever internet speed technology we need to like get to, or like streaming technology service we need to get to, can make that more accurate, more enjoyable. But for me, as we go deeper into like the technology digital thing, and like I spent my last pretty much like 13 months like deep diving into crypto. Like that became my world. I learned all about it, like all about it. I mean, every division of it I've like put money in, made money or lost money just for the sake of learning. Like I tend to learn that way. I never went to college, so it was like I'm learning on the job. You know, with the studio, I bought and sold recording equipment, like because I didn't have like a company that I would buy equipment from. So my way of like testing it would be like, I'm buying it on Craigslist. I like it. I don't like it. I'm selling it. I'm either taking a loss and that was a mistake that I bought this thing, or I bought this amazing piece of equipment. I still have it and I got it for, you know, 30% of what it goes for now. Right. And I like scored and it's worth a lot more than, you know, and same thing, like going through crypto, like I started with like just random coins that I had no idea about and buying, and, you know, some of those were huge wins, some of those were huge losses, and learning about like NFTs. A lot of those were like huge losses to begin with, because I was just like, any random project could go from being like this $300 thing to like this $300,000 thing. So like like lost a lot on those, but like learned the ecosystem.
Just need one of those to pop off to pay for all the losses.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's also ironically what I've learned with like music, and, you know, like it's just anything in general.
One song can pay for all 1,000 songs that were bad.
Yeah, you know, and I've fortunately had a few of those discoveries with crypto that are like long term, but I can see that like I made the right decision early, and I'm really excited about like how that will play out. And I'm hoping like that'll just be funding and financing for like everything. You know, I've gotten to the point now where I see in the not so distant future, which is why I'm max debt like leveraged right now, is that I can set myself up to be like good financially for the rest of my life, where all the decisions I'm making are only purely because I want to do it and they don't have a money based motive. You know, like I'm the same way as you. I typically will go after things when I'm committing to learning it or doing it. It'll eventually be something that makes money. So it kind of like it crosses those paths, you know. It's no longer like this thing I just do. Yeah. Because, and I always think about it like in that way, you know, like I love riding motorcycles. It's like, oh, maybe I could go do some like Baja races and like try to win one of those like desert, you know, 100-mile.
There is that like compulsion, isn't there? Like, to where do you line up against either the game itself or the other people that you know that are doing it, or a community or whatever. Like, you want to know, you want to have like a point of reference for your development in something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to some degree still ambition, you know, like, there are like, for me, I guess I still do have certain things. Like I love scuba diving. The only way that I've thought about that, like, I guess being a monetary thing is like, I'm like a class away from being a dive master. I could like start, you know, taking people out as an instructor or dive master and like make money.
No recording sessions underwater. That's not where you were going with that.
Not where I'm going with that.
Okay.
Just the fact that like, you know, taking a hobby and like excelling all the way to the end of the path to becoming like a teacher and having like a now way to generate money from it. Same thing like with snowboarding. Like I could in an alternative life see either being a snowboarding coach or a scuba diving instructor and being super happy being in nature and like teaching people something I love.
Yeah.
You know? But
One of the richest people I ever met in my life was my Latin teacher in high school.
Huh.
Yeah, his family.
How did that work out?
His family had a dairy farm that was like a couple miles away from our school, and the town was very like developing like exponentially, and developers came in and like wanted to buy his land, so we sold the land, sold all the cows, and the cows are like $5,000 a piece. He had 5,000 cows.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So he was just like,
Good.
Okay, I don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm going to build an aquatic center because I want to support swimmers and like put, you know, he wants to coach swimming and he wants to teach Latin. And he was the coolest guy because he was like, I'm only doing things that I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm building into that, and I'm building into that lifestyle, and I'm building that mindset without having the resources yet to get to that. You know, like I know that it's coming, which is cool. So I like am telling myself it's coming. So I'm starting to plan my life, even though that's part of why I'm in more debt than I would like to be, is because I'm playing the game as if I'm already there now.
Yeah.
You know, and like I've always been a bit of a visionary to achieve. Like that's just the benchmark I'm heading to next.
You're still up on crypto, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, like that's that like up significantly. It's just that how I'm living on a day-to-day basis is like maximum
You're not taking
debt.
money out of that?
No.
Mm-mm.
I just like, I mean, that's a whole longer discussion, but like, I don't really like believe in like the country or the dollar long term. So for me, I would rather be like leveraging debt with like low interest, like a line of credit.
Sure.
And keeping like something growing so that like if things really do go off a cliff here, like I've been feeding like the right ecosystem, and I don't think that's like anything to do with America or like the US dollar.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan. Like that's where even like the web platform has been like appealing to me, is like I'm a big fan of like I'm a world traveler. I like the idea of like uniting the world in a way. So like a one world currency is an awesome thing to me, where it's like I can go to all these different places and I don't have to deal with like currency exchange, and I don't have to, you know, deal with all that bullshit. And crypto is the way of that, like to some degree the way of the future for that, you know. And I mean, there's pluses and minuses, I guess, that you could go with either side with like printing dollar bills versus like computers, and they both have their like environmental negative problems. But like that's also something that I'm very conscious of, and like try to make sure like there's a lot of like carbon offset things that these smarter crypto companies do, which is something I favor.
Yeah, I was burnt out on Ethereum until I heard about them doing, was it proof of stake or something versus the old way of doing it?
Yep.
Yeah, you want to think that you're like the decisions that you're making. If you're already making a decision because of money, the next step is like, oh my God, is it also destroying the planet? Because like there's no way out of that to feel good.
That's where I stopped. Like when I first started, a friend of mine, Ty, this guy has this company called Volatile Alpha. Ty Cody, he was a music guy for a while who moved into like the markets and started a training program that I joined like maybe like halfway through 2020 or something like that, because I had like dabbled in the stock market and I understood like basically like buying and selling, but I didn't understand anything about charts and patterns and technical analysis, and I didn't understand anything about like earnings periods or what like would tax periods, like what would trigger markets to move in certain ways, like how observing like how the news influences markets. Like there's so many layers to all of it when you start to like actually study. And that was like how I spent the last year and some change learning. And I've always been it's a lot.
My friends and I, my art friends, some of my buddies, we were like, gosh, if we just spent a year focusing on the market and like how to trade, would it be a better use of our time, like when it comes to financial gain, than like spending a year writing a bunch of songs or books or whatever? But it's so fucking boring. It's like so boring.
Yeah.
And the people who are able to do that, they either have a determination to get rich or to like exit out of the like rat race, like, wheel of work or whatever. Or you have this gift where it's just like you get it and it seems like you're just taking in information that makes sense.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not one of those people. And I want people like you, a finisher. I want to like give you some money and then you turn it into 3x money or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, man. I mean, there's like, it's tough because in my experiences lately, like the biggest wins I've had have been like the biggest risks. And so like I tell people about like the win after, and they're like, oh, I got to give you money. And I'm like, I put like $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000 into this thing at this point when like it could have been bust, And so like there's a lot of those moments, and there are also moments I've had where I've busted, and it sucked. But like the one point I was going to make before was that even with the stock market, I made like the definitive decision of like, I don't want to do pharmaceutical. I don't want to do like oil. I don't want to do anything that's like things I'm hardcore against. Like I fucking hate those companies. I am not a fan of like that industry at all in America. Like our healthcare system's the craziest shit ever when you like look at other countries, and like not a fan of like what oil has caused problem wise in the world, and like how like just it seems like it's just a huge problem we could have all avoided. And say all that to say like trying to do things with somewhat of a ethic conscious mind limits the returns, because like the big money is in like fucking people over, and you see that from afar, which is like, damn, if only I was just like, oh, whatever, I'll just buy Pfizer stock because they're gonna make all this money off people in COVID. And I'm just like, ugh, like I don't, it's the last thing I want to be supporting and investing in. And like those guys have crazy history of like drugs that make people addicted to opiate. Like it's all ugly, like I don't want to be doing that. But I love video games, and like the coolest thing that I pivoted into last year, a friend of mine, this guy named Craig from that group Volatile Alpha that I was telling you about, that was the coolest thing, is finding a community that was really exciting to talk to, and then like learning about projects. And blockchain gaming is like the coolest shit in the world to me. Like the fact that you're telling me like I could buy like a building in a video game that like people go into when they're playing that game to like buy ammo for guns, and like that's real money I make because I own the virtual real estate. Or like the guns you've bought or the bullets you've bought for the game are like things you can like sell to other people. And like it blew my mind, and I got so excited about like what that meant for like the future of video games and the future of like one use of like crypto blockchain style technology. And this company like Gala Games has been like the coolest thing I've learned about, and it's very like our community supports like the whole ecosystem. Like I bought these node licenses where like I have a license that my computer runs like a server for their games, and I get like a distribution reward on a daily basis. And when I bought that, like the first license I bought in May last year was like $10,000. And I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, this is such a crazy risk.
It's so abstract.
And then like every day I earn like a like from 700 a day. Now it's like down to like 300 a day because like more nodes have come online. So the reward is less.
Yeah.
But like I was earning 700 Gala a day. It was like less than a penny. And then like it got added to these other exchanges and it hit like 80 cents. And I was like, holy shit, like this is like 80x on this thing that I like still earn daily and don't have a cost for. And like the node license itself now is like $91,000
Oh, wow.
for somebody to buy one. And it's been like this
you can sell
huge
yours
win.
to someone else?
You can't right now. Like the way they're structured, I think it's like probably based on like tax laws. And I'm not sure if it's also based on like if somebody buys a license and doesn't actually run the software, like to link it to be part of the server network, if that's detrimental to them. I don't know why you would, because it's literally like it's like basically like a money printer. It's pretty amazing. Like you get rewards on a daily basis for supporting this network, and as they add games, you get a percentage of the daily transactions of every game that's ever going to be on their network.
So this is kind of like what.cd or Oinkster or whatever, like when they would need, in order for you to download files, the more people that were seeding the files, the faster you'd be able to download the file, because it would just, if one failed, it would go to the next person who would seed you that part of the net.
Yeah, but that's
so
like
the game is running like that. Wow.
So you know, like right now
they're not paying for like servers the way like Google or whatever is.
No,
they're running their servers. You are the servers.
Yeah. And then
what?
Yeah.
Cool.
Super cool. So that's what got me excited about it, was I started learning about, like, I got really into crypto because I started learning about like the business models. And I was like, I never thought about that. Like I never even knew that that was a possibility. Like I obviously talked about wanting to build a music platform. I loved the idea that people could buy into supporting this platform and earn money by being a part of the computer power that runs it. So that like makes me think I can apply that idea to my business. So
what is this idea called? What is this?
Well, right now I'm calling it Connect 2.
No, not your.
Oh,
what is the
like nodes? So
node?
Yeah, NODE. Nodes are common in crypto, and it's basically like a lot of it's like also like staking. So like you could put like 500,000 of a coin that's super cheap in like a place that you're locking it up in. Yeah. And that helps provide that company.
I was staking Ethereum for a while.
Yeah. So Ethereum has nodes. They're just like super expensive because Ethereum's been around for so long and the value of it is like exponential to where it started. Yeah. And that's where I look at like with Gala, like hopefully in the future, in 5 years or 10 years, if they have 50 titles and something really pops off and becomes like Grand Theft Auto level success, like these things could be worth $1 million. And, you know, like the coins that you earn on a daily basis can support like, cool, I don't have to work anymore, you know? So right now,
just got to make sure that computer's on and has a Wi-Fi connection.
Well, then it gets
or a hard
deeper.
line.
So I was doing that before, and then I learned about virtual private servers. So you can literally just buy server space for like $300 a year, and like it just runs that like hardware fulfillment.
You transfer it to the server.
Yes.
So you're not using your actual computer.
Correct.
So you're just doing
nothing. I'm essentially the server. I'm paying for their part of their server.
Yeah, they could have done that.
Yeah.
But instead you would be doing it.
Yeah. And
it's very like is this communism? Is this like a way of like owning the means of distribution?
I mean, essentially, there's a few ways to look at it, but like the main thing is if at some point it's gonna outgrow what a virtual private server is capable to provide, like the requirements that they need, because there's phases. Right now they have like one game online, so it's not a big deal. But like when there's 20 games online and they're launching their own blockchain, and you're helping support all the blocks for the transactions that are going through on the blockchain, it's like it requires a full on like Ethereum level like mining rig of a computer setup. Yeah. You know, but the goal for them is to decentralize the network so that more people have individual support of this. So if it gets attacked, it can't actually be like brought down in full scale at one time. Yeah. So that I loved. Yeah. You know, and I think the other big part of it is like, yes, they could do it by themselves, but bringing people in is a really awesome way to build like this hardcore super fan type group of people who are like deeply invested in the success, because like it's going to be beneficial for both them and everyone else in that core group, which is super cool to me. Like that's where I'm fascinated by like that business model is incredible.
What's their game called?
Townstar.
Townstar?
So that's a whole nother world. Like I buy NFTs that I can activate in that game, and I earn town coin, which is the coin from that game, every day. And so like you can buy an NFT that's like $5,000 that earns like 30 or 50 town coin every day.
How the fuck does it? This is for another conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'll show you like visually, you know, we can like pull up the game, because I literally log in every day and I collect money every day playing this game.
What?
So I have the node that's...
Oh, I've heard about like these kids in like the Philippines or Taiwan or whatever that like
make a living.
They make a living playing a game?
Yeah.
Because they're like propping up the game by playing it.
Just literally playing the game has like a ability to be something you can earn income from.
Yeah.
And in like third world countries, like daily income could be like 45 cents.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we're talking about like a whole different scale of money to like people who don't have access to that. And that was another big selling point when I started looking into this company, was like their main goal is to help alleviate a lot of like third world stress and like young kids being like sold so that like their parents, you know, like because they can't afford to keep their kids alive.
Right.
Like if that can happen from like playing video games, dude, like
crazy.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, like that's so amazing. So there are, you know, like in anything, there are like people who are getting super rich off of it. And like, I think just like kind of watching Tesla and how Tesla became a thing, like it started off with like really expensive cars that could only appeal to like super rich people, because he had to generate enough money to like fund the next tier down, and then so on and so forth, to the point where now he has factories that can make a $30,000 car, you know. And I think that the goal is to even get to like a $20,000 or a $15,000 car, and without like somehow getting $10 billion of investment money to like build that out, you're earning your way, or I guess in that scale, it's probably like 500 million or billion or something like that to like build at that level from jump. You know, you have to figure out like how do you build this world and then scale backward to like be more helpful to those people. But to wrap that whole point up, yeah, there are people that like in those countries make a living now playing these games, and like I love that.
Yeah.
You know, and the future of that world is super exciting to me. You know, I've also tried to figure out, with like reflecting personally, like what is exciting to me. And right now music's not very exciting to me, and like the state of music's not been exciting to me for quite a long time. Like I'm not a fan of 85% of popular music, and I feel like a lot of it's like garbage subject and material, and like the artists and the people are not good role models, positive people to like be influencing the world. And like
this is also how I feel about most NFTs that I see.
Yeah. I mean, NFTs are in like a junk race right now. Like it's really difficult. But the cool thing is, you know, like I'll group myself in with this. Like there are people that are learning the ropes right now to bring real substance into it, you know, and that's where my head is at, you know. And I'm also looking at like, can I make an NFT project that's going to fund building this platform and have people be along for that ride, you know? And that, you know, it's not really anything super new. It's like a Kickstarter or like a GoFundMe, or like it's all those things somewhat exist already.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad that I'm in a point right now where like I don't have label, publisher, or management really. So I'm as free as I was when I moved here. And there's this new Web3 development and all of this stuff, and it's going to work into music somehow. And I'm glad that I'm not tethered to an archaic way of doing things. Like I'm kind of like, I'm able to, if I want to, I can dig into like what's going to happen with all this and how's it going to be applied to streaming music, royalties, ownership, all this stuff. And I could like learn about that. I could develop something, or I could hop on board with a new development. But like, I'm just so glad that that there's new things happening and that I have the choice
where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
that's awesome.
For a long time, that's just not the way it was.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, was that, I don't know if that's something you feel like talking about or not talking about with at least the label exit. Is that something that was just like a contractual fulfillment and you're done and things are good, or you just mutually decided, hey, or it was like I want out of this, or what was the...
I definitely was in a place where I couldn't do anything for them. And they couldn't do anything for me. So it was like, you know, we loved working together. And if the world was in a different place right now, we would have continued our relationship. But it's just like, you know, they respected me as a writer, an artist, and creative to be like, look, we don't want to like hold you to this thing where we don't even know what's going on in the world. Like,
cool.
They have these major artists that bring them, you know, it's just like it's like a bell curve. Like there's a few A students that like really provide a lot of resources for them, and then they take risks on a ton of people.
Yeah.
And they let go of a lot of people, and despite them being big fans of the project and wanting to put me out on tour and get me opening up for acts and like doing more projects together, it was like Craig at Atlantic called me and just said, look, I don't want to like, he's like, unfortunately they're not in the position to keep everyone on board that they want to. And he was saying that because I came in similar to the way I came into school, where I had done all of this stuff on my own prior to being a student. I was just like very DIY. I had shown up to the label with a short film and an album and mixtapes and merchandise and all this stuff, and I think they knew that about me, and we had asked them about what the future was going to be like, and they didn't really have an answer. So we both felt like at the time it was just the best thing for me to keep going, doing what I need to do without them, because they didn't know at what, like, you know, this was in like June of 2020.
Oh, wow. Like, so like right in the early stages of it.
Yeah. I mean,
I can only imagine how much worse it's got for them.
Yeah.
In that extra 16 months.
Yeah. And they're, you know, that label, Atlantic. I mean,
they're not going anywhere, obviously.
Atlantic is like, they're very successful because my project on that label was pretty radical, despite my album being like traditional and like singer-songwriter and recorded in a very like timeless way. Like most of the things that they make their money on are pop radio, like big popular things.
Yeah.
And my project wasn't necessarily going to be that. And so it was very much like, man, like we had a good rhythm going. Like we were really getting into like planning the next year of what it was going to look like. But then when the world shut down, it was like,
yeah, game over.
Yeah, this is like unfortunate, but this is not a project that is going to be serviceable in a now TikTok, like social media phase that they needed to be in. Like they needed songs that were like viral, marketable, social media, like here, like just yeah. So my record didn't have that. My record was like meant for TV and film.
Yeah.
And everyone stopped shooting things, and people, like everyone that I needed to help promote my project with me and share, and everyone was out of work. And I felt, they sent me, I think they sent me that camera to film myself like at home doing a bunch of things, like promoting myself. And I just felt so turned off by trying to do that when I knew that I was taking it hard, and like my life didn't really change that much.
Yeah.
Like I spend a lot of my time anyways at home making records, but there's people that, like, my brother has 4 kids, and he all of a sudden is at home with his entire family all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't have, a lot of people lost their income streams and didn't know what was going on. So like I felt like a fucking jackass trying to reach out to people and be like, can I have $13 to like, can I, so I can, my dreams and I was just like,
Yeah.
nah, that's not what I want to do. I'm not going to like sit here and try to convince you to listen to my music when like, I would rather you spend your money on like talking to a therapist or like buying some golf clubs and going like get out of like help yourself. My music can probably do that for people and has, but when it came time to like really push it on people and like be like, if you don't listen to this, like you're missing out. Like I just don't believe that.
Yeah.
So they needed that from their artists, and the artists that do that or have people that do that for them stayed.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool. I'm free. I can do whatever I want with whomever I want, whenever I want. And if I want to make an instrumental album, if I want to make like a commercial for Apple or orange juice, or like if I want to, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And now I have all of the tools and people and networks and wisdom to do it the way that I wanted to do it initially when I moved here like 12 years ago. So I'm in maybe the best place I could be as a result of like the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Because at least, I mean, I think about, like, I took it pretty hard, like going from having an upward trajectory and like upwards and outwards into the world to like suddenly not. Like I took it pretty hard for a little bit, but then I thought there's people that were in the middle of making their albums that maybe were in the phase where they had written a bunch of songs and were looking for the right producers to make the album, or maybe they had just, there's people out there that just signed a record deal and then the world shut down. And then, there's people that are in bands that they don't even play their own songs. They play cover. They're a cover band. Those people are fucked.
Yeah. Fucked.
And I'm like, okay, I made an album. I can hold it. I can give it to people that I care about. People can buy it if they want to. I can go home and play it on my record player. I have memories of doing this that I cherish. Like every bit of this is something to be very grateful for.
100%.
The part that I'm missing out on is the part that everyone hates the most, which is leaving your comfort zone, going out and playing the music over and 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 over for people that don't know who you are, want to be impressed by you. You have to like constantly win people over as like when promoting your record, and it's just like that's like the worst part of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not out here, I'm not like the song and dance man.
Yeah.
Like that's not what I live and breathe for. I like the part that I already did.
Yeah.
And so going back to the label, when we decided to not be together anymore, it was like, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Simple.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And so now I'm free.
That's awesome.
And there is a stigma that comes with like, not finishing the journey or or being a major label artist and then not being a major label artist. But that's just not real, especially now.
Yeah.
In this new world of like
I
independence and crypto and NFT and blockchain, like there's all this stuff that like I bet Ed Sheeran is like super into the idea of releasing his music. I bet Kendrick Lamar is like, I can't wait to release my album on the blockchain. Now don't quote me, I don't know Kendrick Lamar, but these artists they take massive paychecks to be indebted to companies and fulfill contracts.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, all they want to do is fulfill the contract to be done with it. Like Jay-Z is happy. He owns his shit.
Yeah.
Soulja Boy is happy he owns his shit.
He's happy he owns his shit.
Yeah.
We can't say if he's happy.
I don't know how happy Soulja Boy is, but these are my heroes.
Yeah.
Soulja Boy is my hero. Yeah, so I'm as free as Soulja Boy right now. It feels good.
That's great.
But I do need to go. I gotta go eat dinner.
Cool. This was awesome, man. Thank you for coming by. Great
I'll come
to
by
see you.
anytime.
Now that I know that you're a free bird,
We can do this with lav mics on the golf course.
we can. We'll laugh at each other's horrible shots.
It'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the next thing for me is also like I haven't landed on how to yet, but I do like to look forward into like, there's all these technological things that exist that make like this almost archaic, like it's not that this needs to be in this format. I just, from the sake of like having a goal and wanting to accomplish like getting it, building out, getting this space ready was its own long-term goal and project. Getting the equipment, figuring out I bought the right things, the wrong things, going through that whole thing again.
Yeah.
And like now being 14 episodes in, like it just felt like that was the way I needed to approach this to like get on the road. And I don't necessarily know that, like I don't plan to be in this physical location for more than a few years. So I'm already kind of looking at like, how does this transform, to be something that could be outside of here and just be, but at the same time, at least right now, I'm really appreciating one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, I mean, if we weren't in the room together, how would I have spilled water all over all of your electronics before we started the show? I'm trying to give you a case for going remote.
Indirectly, that was an indirect passive aggressive way of telling me that I needed to go remote.
Still have more water left.
Thank you, man. This was a real treat. I'll cut it
Thanks
here.
for having me. I haven't talked to my therapist in a long time, so it's nice to ramble.
Yeah, it's good to just have some actual conversations. And, like that's been like the most enjoyable thing for me is like after somewhat being held prisoner via COVID, like I get to have these awesome conversations where it's like, I really enjoy having a real conversation where it's like not looking at my phone, not looking at other shit, not like while the TV's on, not like while the song is playing, but like, and learn about somebody that I really like and like learn more about them and learn about their life. Like it's just super cool to me. So,
well, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming in.
Bye, everybody.